Hi and welcome to our new YouTube tutorial. In this video we're going to be building this nice Nike product card with HTML, CSS and a little bit of JavaScript. The project is going to be a kind of simple one, but I hope you will enjoy it. Let's go ahead and describe the project. As you can see, we have here a card which consists of a couple of different parts. The card is split in two main parts. We have the top part and bottom, and also you can see here the image of the shoe. The bottom part contains some information about the product, I mean the name, description, size, price and so on. Down below you can switch between the colors. If I click the red color, then the shoes will switch with a nice transition effect, and also the colors of the card will change. Alright, so that's all about the project. Let's get started. I've created a new folder on the desktop called Nike card, in which we have another folder for the images. Let's go ahead and open this folder in VS Code and create our working files. I mean index.html, style.css and script.js. Then open the index.html file and create a basic HTML document. For that I'm going to use Emmet. Let's place here the exclamation mark and hit Tab or Enter. Alright, first of all I'm going to change the title. It's going to be Nike card. Then let's link the CSS and JavaScript files. Let's specify here the path of the file. As for the JavaScript file, I'm going to open script tag, and then we have to specify here the name of the file. Okay, after that I'm going to bring in a couple of different links. Throughout the project I'm going to use font awesome icons and also a Google font. Let's go ahead and bring in the links. Let's start with the font awesome icons. I'm going to search for font awesome CDN.js. We need the first link here. Let's open a link tag in the head element and paste the CDN link as the value of the href attribute. Alright, let's move on and take care of the Google font. I'm going to visit the Google Fonts website. Throughout this project I'm going to use a font called Quicksand. Let's select all the styles. Then grab the link and paste it in the head element. Okay, so we are almost ready to start to build the project. Let's run the project to the browser using a live server package. Then place the editor and the browser side by side, like so, and get started. First of all, I'm going to create the HTML markup. Let's open div tag with a class container. Next, we need another div tag, which is going to be the wrapper of the card. And after that, let's create the card itself. So as I said, the card will consist of two main parts. We'll have the top side and the bottom side. So let's open div tag, which is going to be card top. And then we need another div tag, card bottom. Alright, let's take care of the top side. It will consist of a couple of different elements. The first one is going to be the logo of the Nike. So let's open image tag with the class logo. And then select the image, which is going to be Nike.png. Then we will have some text elements. I'm going to open div tag with the class card top text, in which we will have two different elements. I mean h1, it's going to be the name AR structure, and then we will have paragraph with some dummy text. Besides that, we will have here the images of the shoes. Let's open image tag with the class shoe1 and select shoe1.png. Let's duplicate this code and change the class name and also the name of the image. Alright, so that's it about the top side. Let's move on and take care of the bottom side. Like the top side, we will have here a couple of different elements. Let's open h1 heading tag with the text AR structure. Then we will have a div tag which is going to be the badge with the text new. Next we need another heading element, in this case h3, running collections. After that I'm going to insert here the stars. Let's open div tag with the class stars, in which we will have 5 font awesome icons. We need I element with the classes fa solid, fa star. Let's duplicate it 4 times. Next we will have the size. Let's open div tag with the class size. Insert here h4 heading element with the text size. And then we need a couple of span elements which will indicate the sizes. Let's start from 7 through 11. Alright, that's it about the sizes. Next we will have the colors. Let's open div tag with the class color. Then we need h4 heading element with the text color. Then open another div tag with the class colors and insert here 2 div tags with the classes color1 and color2. Okay, so with the colors we're done, and finally we need to add here the price. Let's open div tag with the class price. We will have here 2 span elements. The first one is going to be the currency USD. As for the second one, we'll have here the price. Alright, so that's it regarding the HTML markup. Now we can start to write the CSS. First of all, let's create some reset and default styles. I'm going to select every element using an asterisk. At first, let's get rid of default margin and padding. Let's set both properties to 0. Then I'm going to set box sizing to border box. And also change the font family. Use here the Google font Quicksand sans serif. Throughout the project I'm going to use rem as a measurement unit. Right now 1 rem equals 16 pixels because by default the font size of the HTML element is equal to 16 pixels. I want to convert 1 rem into 10 pixels, and for that we have to decrease the font size of the HTML element to 62.5%. So as you can see, the elements are smaller now. Before we move on, I'm going to make those images smaller, and also I want to hide one of the shoes. In order to hide the image, I'm going to use an attribute called hidden. As for the logo and the shoe, let's make them smaller. Select logo and define width as 8 rem. As for the shoe one, I'm going to make its width 30 rem. Okay, so now we have a much better result and we can start to customize the container. Let's select it and first of all define its width and height. I'm going to set width to 100%. As for the height, it's going to be 100% of the viewport. Also, let's change the background color. I'm going to use here color 262626. And then I want to place the card wrapper in the center of the page. For that, we can use CSS grid. Let's use display grid and then place items center. Alright, that's it about the container. Let's move on and customize the card wrapper. Select this element and first of all define its width and height. The width is going to be 50 rem. As for the height, I'm going to make it 70 rem. Also, I'm going to use here some temporary background color. Let's say C. Then I'm going to create some space inside of the wrapper, I mean on the left and right sides using padding. Let's set it to 0 at the top and bottom and 10 rem on the left and right sides. And also I'm going to center the card itself. So let's use again display grid and place items center. Okay, so as you can see the wrapper of the card is customized. Next I'm going to take care of the card itself. Let's select it and define its width and height. I'm going to set width to 30 rem. As for the height, it's going to be 55 rem. Then change the background color. I'm going to use here color EE. Also, I'm going to make the corners of the card rounded using border radius with value 2.5 rem, and then use a box shadow with values 0, 2 rem, 6 rem, and the color is going to be RGBA value, I mean the black color, with opacity 0.7. Okay, so the card looks a bit better. Actually, we can get rid of that temporary background from the card wrapper. Let's move on and start to work on the top side of the card. Let's select this element, define its width and height. The width is going to be 100%. As for the height, I'm going to make it 50%. It will take up the half of the height of the card. Then the background color is going to be F1 AE04. Also, let's create some space inside of the element using padding. I'm going to make it 3 rem on all 4 sides. And also we need here border radius. I mean border radius at the top left and top right corners. So let's make them 2.5 rem. As for the bottom right and bottom left corners, they will be 0. Okay, so the card is getting nicer step by step. Let's go ahead and customize the elements of the top side. I'm going to start with the logo. It already has the width. And I'm going to create some space at the bottom using margin bottom 2 rem. Next, I'm going to take care of these text elements. Let's select card top text and change the color, make it white. Next, I'm going to select H1 heading element. I'm going to increase the font weight. Let's make it 600. Also transform text into uppercase. Then I'm going to create some space between the letters. Let's make it 0.1 rem. And also create some space at the bottom using margin bottom 1 rem. Alright, so the only elements that we need to customize in the top side is the image of the shoe. I'm going to change its position. Let's set position to absolute. Actually, we need to position the image according to the card, so we need position relative for the card. And then define top and right properties. I'm going to set top position to minus 2.5 rem. As for the right position, it's going to be minus 10 rem. Alright, so that's it about the top side. Now we can move on and start to work on the bottom side. Let's select card bottom and define its width and height. I'm going to set width to 100%, and then the height is going to be 50%, like it was in the case of top side. Besides that, I'm going to create some space inside the element using padding. I'm going to set it to 2 rem at the top and bottom and 3 rem on the left and right sides. Alright, let's move on and customize the heading. Select card bottom H1. Let's increase the font weight, make it 500. Also transform text into uppercase. And create some space between the letters, make it 0.1 rem. Change the color, make it 333. And also create some space at the bottom using margin bottom 0.6 rem. Alright, that's it about the heading. Next, I'm going to customize the badge. So let's go ahead and select this element. And first of all, let's take care of its position. Let's set position to absolute. Then the top position is going to be 30 rem. As for the right, I'm going to make it 5 rem. Next, I'm going to define width and height. Let's set width to 3.5 rem. As for the height, it's going to be 1.6 rem. Also change the background color. I'm going to use here color 25D390. Next, I'm going to change the color of the text. Let's make it white. Also, I'm going to place the text in the center of the box. So I'm going to use again CSS grid. We need display grid and place items center. Next, I'm going to make the elements slightly rounded. So use border radius with the value 0.3 rem. Then I'm going to take care of the text. Let's define font size, make it 0.9 rem. Also, I'm going to make the font bolder. So let's set font weight to bold. Then create some space between the letters, make it 0.1 rem, and also make the text uppercase. Alright, so that's it regarding the badge. It looks nice, and now we can move on and take care of the next element, which is going to be H3 heading element. Let's define the font size. I'm going to make it to 1 rem. Also change the font weight. Let's set it to 400. Make the text uppercase. And create some space at the bottom using margin bottom with value 0.6 rem. Okay, let's move on and take care of the stars. I mean those font awesome icons. Select div elements with the class stars and create space at the bottom using margin bottom 3 rem. The only thing that I'm going to do is to change the last icon. I mean, I'm going to decrease the opacity. So let's select stars, followed by the I element with last child pseudo class, and set opacity to 0.4. Alright, so with the stars we are done. Let's move on to the sizes. Let's select div elements and create space at the bottom. Let's make it 3 rem. Then I'm going to select H4 heading element. Let's set the font size to 1.2 rem. Then make the text uppercase. Create some space between the letters. Make it 0.1 rem. And then create space at the bottom using 1.3 rem. Okay, next I'm going to take care of the actual size numbers. Let's align them using flexbox. I'm going to set display to flex, then select the span element itself, increase the font size, make it 1.3 rem, and also create space on the right side of each span element. Let's use margin right 2.5 rem. Okay, so the only thing that I have to do regarding the sizes is to customize the actual size of the shoe. Let's say the middle one, I mean 9. So let's select size, followed by the span element with nth child pseudo class. We need the third item. Let's define width and height, make both of them 2 rem. Then change the background color. Let's use here 25D393. Change the color, make it white. Also, I'm going to make element rounded using border radius 50%. And then I'm going to place the number in the center using grid. We need display grid and place items center. Alright, so finally with the sizes we are done. Next comes the colors. Let's select H4 heading element. We need font size to be 1.2 rem. Then text transform uppercase. Use again letter spacing with the value 0.1 rem. And create space at the bottom. Make it 1 rem. Okay, so that's it about the heading. Next I'm going to customize the actual colors. Right now they are not visible because we have here just the empty div elements. So let's select both colors, I mean color 1 and color 2, and define some common styles. We need width and height, both of them to be 2 rem. Then let's add here some temporary background color, let's say red. Also make the element rounded using border radius 50%. And also change the type of the cursor, make it pointer. So here we have the colors and I'm going to place them side by side. For that, let's select div element colors and use display flags. Okay, next let's customize the colors separately. I'm going to select color 1. Let's define the background color. It's going to be 1C477A. Then create some space on the right side using margin right 1.5 rem. And also use box shadow with the values 0, 1 rem, 2 rem, and as the color I'm going to use RGBA value 2871 122 and the opacity 0.2. Alright, let's move on and take care of the color 2. I'm going to change the background color. It's going to be CO2244 and also use box shadow with the value 0, 1 rem, 2 rem, and the RGBA color 1923468 and the opacity 0.3. And also let's get rid of that temporary red background color. Okay, so with the colors we are done, and the last part to customize is a price. Let's select the div elements and define its width and height. I'm going to set width to 16 rem. The height is going to be 4 rem. Then change the background color. I'm going to use 1C477A. Also change the color of the text, make it white. And then make the element slightly rounded using border radius with the value 0.5 rem. Next, I'm going to position the price. So let's set position to absolute and then define right and bottom properties. The right position is going to be -1 rem. As for the bottom position, I'm going to set it to 3 rem. Also, let's use box shadow with the values 0, 1 rem, 2 rem, and the RGBA color 2871 122 and the opacity 0.5. Next, I'm going to place the items in the center. In this case, let's use flags box. We need display flags, justify content center, and align items center. Alright, so now I'm going to customize the span elements. I mean the currency and the price itself. So let's select span and increase the font size, make it 2 rem. Then I'm going to customize the first span element. So let's select span with the first child pseudo class. Let's set font weight to 300. Make the text uppercase. And create some space on the right side using margin right 1 rem. And finally, I'm going to customize the second span element. So let's select span with the last child pseudo class and increase the font weight, make it bold. Alright, so finally the card is customized, and now we can move on and make it work. Let's take a look at the finished project. So once we click the red color, then the shoes will switch and also the colors will change. In order to do that, I'm going to use a little bit of JavaScript. First of all, I'm going to select a couple of different elements. Let's start with the container. I'm going to create new variable. Let's call it container and select the element using query selector method. We need to specify here the class name container. Let's duplicate this code twice. The next variable is going to be color1. Let's change the name and the class name. And then we will have color2. So let me explain what we are going to do. We will add a new class to the container on click. Then using that newly added class, we will define the styles in CSS that should be applied to the card on click. So I'm going to add an event listener to the color2, which is a red color. The event is going to be click. Also we need here an arrow function which will be executed once we click the element. So in order to add a new class to the container, we need container itself followed by the class list property which gives us all the classes that the element has. And then we need method called add. Let's specify here the name of the class, let's say change. Let's go back to the CSS file. At first, let's change the colors. I'm going to select container with the class change, followed by the card top. Let's change the background color. I'm going to use here color D35246. And also for smooth effect, let's use transition with the values background and 0.5 second. Okay, so as you can see, the color is changed once we click the red color. Let's go ahead and change the color for the price. Select again container with the class change, followed by the price. Change the background color. Let's use here color C02244. And again use transition with background, 0.5 second. Alright, so the colors are changing, and now we have to take care of the shoes. Right now the second shoe is hidden. Let's go ahead and display it back. Let's delete attribute called hidden, then select it. I'm going to set its width to 33 rem. Also change its position. Let's set its position to absolute. Then the top property is going to be -10 rem. As for the right property, I'm going to set it to -45 rem. So once we click the red color, then the first shoe should move outside of the card, and the red one should place on the card. So let's select container change, followed by the shoe one. We need here transform property, so we have to move the shoe to the left side. So let's use translate X with the value -50 rem, and also I'm going to rotate it according to Z axis with the value 45 degrees. And also use transition with transform and with the duration 1 second. So as you can see, once we click the red color, the first shoe will move. Let's move on and take care of the second one. Select container change, followed by the shoe 2. We need again transform, translate X with the value -40 rem, and also rotate Z with the value -45 degrees. And then use again transition, transform, 1 second. Alright, so now as you can see, both shoes are moving. Actually, we need to hide the space outside of the card wrapper, and for that we can use overflow hidden. Okay, so now we have much better results. The only thing that we have to do is to display back the first shoe and change the colors once we click the blue color. In order to do that, we can simply remove the class change once we click the blue color. Let's duplicate this code here, change color 2 into color 1, and instead of method add, we need method remove. Alright, so everything works perfectly, and with the project we are done. I hope you enjoyed it and learned some new stuff. If you like this video, then please thumbs up, comment below, share it, subscribe to our channel, and click the bell to get notified on coming tutorials. See you next time.